So a bunch of news stories have gone around recently saying that a Bohemian Rhapsody sequel is in the works. Now these articles have been saying that a sequel is being seriously considered by those involved with Queen. This sequel would apparently start where the first film left off, at Live Aid, and would continue on to the last 6 years of Freddie's life. Now take these rumours with a grain of salt, because the source of these rumours comes from a man by the name of Rudy Dolezal. Now Queen fans would obviously recognise him as the director of a number of Queen music videos throughout the later years of their career. So he claims that a sequel is being seriously considered and that discussions have already begun around whether it could be possible or not. I don't know how valid a source this is though, because while I'm sure Rudy still has connections to a lot of people involved with Queen, I don't know that he would necessarily be privy to these talks, so while he's probably heard something, how truthful that is, we don't know. The other thing I believe is that Rudy is working on a book, I think, talking about his friendship with Freddie and his time working with Queen. So, you know, what better way to get people clicking on articles about your book than to start grabbing headlines by talking about a potential sequel to one of the biggest movies of the year. A question that does need to be asked though is, would this even work? You know, a Bohemian Rhapsody sequel does face a lot of struggles, one of which being that would a biopic sequel actually work? I can't think of many biopics, particularly music biopics, that have actually had direct sequels that have continued on the story. So would people be willing to go see this again, or was it just a one-time kind of thing? Obviously Bohemian Rhapsody over the last 6 months has been, you know, a trend and has really been popular and done well, but the question is, would people be drawn back to another film about this band? One of the big problems that a sequel would face is just the lack of hit songs. The first film obviously covered the first 15 years or so of Queen, and so the majority of the greatest hits catalogue of songs was represented in that film. A second film covering the last 6 years would still have some hits like, you know, One Vision and I Want It All and stuff like this. It wouldn't have the big hits like Bohemian Rhapsody, We Are the Champions, We Will Rock You, all this kind of stuff. They could definitely find a way to work those in by live performances, because obviously on the Magic Tour and stuff, Queen were playing those songs, so they could find a way to be cheeky and slip some of those hits back in. But obviously this film wouldn't necessarily have the music to draw people in like the first film did. Another hurdle that this film faces is that it could be a very dark and depressing film. It's one of the things that's brought up when people discuss a potential Bohemian Rhapsody sequel, is that would it be a bit too depressing? The first film was very much a feel-good film, despite its, you know, somewhat sad ending at times. But a sequel, of course, would see Freddie's health deteriorate over the course of the film, which is not something you necessarily want to go and see. I think there's definitely a way they could do it where the film would not necessarily be depressing. When it focuses on Freddie's illness, perhaps it focuses on his determination to keep working, keep doing the thing he loves, and perhaps focus more on the work that he is doing rather than him suffering. Visually, he'll still look gradually worse as the film goes on, but maybe don't draw attention to him suffering as much. You know, let the viewer recognize that he's looking a lot worse, but don't draw attention to it and just focus on his work ethic and the music he's creating with the guys. Regardless of anything else, you talk about all these struggles, the lack of hit songs, the fact that it could be a dark film, whatever, but the question is, would it be successful? And the reality is, well, a great film with a great story would be successful regardless. The first film got a lot of people in cinemas just by the music in the trailers, you know, the music of the film. But the most important thing is, you don't have to necessarily think of this just as a Queen film, just as a film with the music backing it, or the music pushing it forward. Really, if you make a great story, if you make a great film, people will go see it regardless. So if you don't have those hit songs like you did with the first film, don't rely on the music to sell this one. The positive that this film has is that the first film was already a big success and people are already on board with, you know, this film and this cast and all this kind of stuff. So more of that would entice people. Plus, if you just make a great story around it, people will go see it. A great movie is a great movie regardless of anything else. So guys, let us know in the comments below, does a sequel excite you? Does it worry you? Do you think it's even possible? And what are your thoughts and theories about how they could potentially do it? Let us know in the comments below, but until next time, I'll see you guys later.